Hello and welcome to BIO4YOU. Okay, in this video we're going to discuss about chapter 7.2, regulating of stomatal activity. Okay, so here are the learning outcomes for 7.2. Describe the structure and function of gut cells in relation to gaseous exchange. Describe the role of potassium ions in the mechanism of stomatal opening and closing. So basically in this subchapter 7.2, what we're going to discuss is about how do plants do or carry out their gaseous exchange. Okay, so previously we have learned about how us do gaseous exchange because we have lungs, we have heart. Okay, so but for plants, how do they do it? They are really depending on stomatal opening and also through lenticels, which we're going to look soon after this. Okay, so here gaseous exchange in plants. It occurs in two places, mainly through stomata, okay, the structure that you can find on leaf, and also through lenticels. Okay, so what is lenticels? Alright, this is lenticels. Okay, lenticels can be found on the trunk of the plant, on the stem of the plant, on the branches, and also on some part of the fruits. So basically, lenticel, if we look at this diagram over here, if you can follow my laser cursor over here, so lenticels is like some slight opening like this. Dia adalah bahagian yang terbuka macam ni. It allows gases exchange, means CO2 can enter and oxygen can come out, or on the other hand as well, oxygen may enter and CO2 may comes out as well, because don't forget, plant also does carry out process of um, respiration. So aside from photosynthesis, plants also carry out respiration. So what does that mean? So if plant is doing respiration, means plants also produce CO2, and plants also going to require oxygen, but at small amount, at smaller proportion compared to photosynthesis. Okay, so maksud dia photosynthesis. Okay, nanti you can confuse. Sebenarnya plants ni hasilkan CO2 ke guna CO2? Okay, so basically plants have its balance. Dia ada buat photosynthesis dan dia juga ada buat process of respiration. But the process of respiration itu tak banyak because plants, they do not move, they do not run, they don't speak, they don't talk, they don't do physical activities like you guys. I mean like us. Okay, so that is why their respiration process is very low, is very minimal. So even though they are using oxygen, but it's very little amount compared to the amount of oxygen that they produce during photosynthesis. That's why, in conclusion, after we balanced out everything, we say plants produce oxygen. Okay, sebab digunakan sikit tapi dihasilkan by respiration, tapi dihasilkan banyak by photosynthesis. So in terms of carbon dioxide, it does release CO2 when it's doing respiration process, but it consume more during the photosynthesis. Maknanya CO2 tu digunakan lebih banyak semasa photosynthesis. Dia hanya hasilkan ataupun release sedikit sahaja CO2. Okay, so here is the structure of stoma. Alright, so stoma is actually opening. Stoma ni, don't get it wrong, don't be confused. Okay, don't get mixed up. Stoma ni ialah referring to the opening, bukaan. Okay, lubang untuk exchange of gases ni sahaja. So what makes stoma, what creates stoma is the vacuole. Okay, so here is the vacuole, is the gut cell. Here is the gut cell. So we have two gut cells alongside each other. Okay, so as a gut cell, it does also have vacuole. It does have an inner wall which is much thicker than the outer wall. So ini adalah outer wall which is more thinner, lebih nipis, ini lebih tebal. Okay, so of course we also have chloroplast inside the gut cells. So we also have nucleus over here. Okay, so here is the photo of a gut cells. Okay, taken by special technique. Okay, stoma or stomata. Okay, stoma for singular, plural dia is stomata. Means bila cakap banyak-banyak stomata, when we speaking about one is stoma. Okay, what is stoma? It is a pore surrounded by two gut cells. Okay, gut cells have they have a kidney shaped or bean shaped, and it contains chloroplast. Okay, gut cells have a thin, more elastic outer wall, and it has a thick, less elastic inner wall. Maksud dia dinding dia dekat bahagian luar tu adalah lebih nipis and lebih elastik, maknanya lebih stretchable. Yang dinding bahagian dalam dia lebih tebal dan kurang elastik, kurang stretchable. Okay, so here are the position of the stoma. Alright, so it is surrounded by the gut cell, of course. So this is structure of the leaf. So for the structure of the leaf, we could expect to see upper epidermis, palisade mesophyll, spongy mesophyll, and this is the vascular bundle. Alright, and so stoma, and here is another diagram of this one. The diagram of stoma is the opening. This one, the stoma is closing. Okay. Alright, so this is surface view of the stoma. Alright, we have a thicker wall on the inside and thinner wall on the outside. Okay, functions of stoma: to regulate gases exchange and to regulate water loss through transpiration. So means that the function of stoma needs to balance their opening and closing during the day, because you need to bear in mind stoma needs to be open, maknanya this hole need to be open in order to allow the exchange of gas, maknanya nak ambil CO2 and nak buang oxygen. Okay, during the photosynthesis. Okay, also on the other hand, that what you need to remember is that regulate water loss. If it maintains open during the day, during the hot midday yang cuaca sangat panas tu, if it keeps on open, dia akan hilang water moisture juga, dia akan hilang water vapor. So bila dia hilang banyak water vapor, tak boleh lah. So nanti pokok tu akan kehilangan banyak sangat air. So dia kena kawal juga water loss through transpiration ni. Okay, so regulation of stomatal opening and closing. So now we're going to study. Basically, we're going to look at how stomata open and how stomata close, and what makes it open and what makes it close. Okay, so basically, gut cells is the one that control the diameter of the stoma by changing its shape. Maknanya nak bukaan the stoma tu buka besar ke, buka kecil ke, tertutup ke, terbuka ke, semuanya adalah disebabkan gut cells ini yang berubah shape dia tu. Sama ada dia keep on curving outside ataupun dia just maintain flat macam tu saja, flaccid. So the gap, iaitu jarak ataupun jarak antara the two cells widen ataupun narrow. Ni widen, so open, and narrow, dia akan tertutup. Okay, so this is the basic idea of stomatal closing. Okay, so for stomatal closing, in order for it to be closed, stomata closes when the gut cells loses water by osmosis. Maknanya bila air keluar daripada gut cell pergi ke epidermal cell ataupun the adjacent cell. Adjacent cell ni maknanya sel yang berada bersebelahan dengan gut cell ini. So when the water diffuses out, okay, by osmosis, the gut cells become flaccid, maknanya dia jadi kempis lah. So bila kempis, so the pore closes because dia tidak dalam keadaan flaccid. Okay. On the other hand, what makes it open? Okay, it is due to stoma opens when gut cells take in water by osmosis. Maknanya bila water keep on masuk dekat dia, bila makin besar dia akan curve outwards. Kenapa dia curve outwards gut cell ni? Remember, inner wall of the gut cell tu, which is this one, less elastic. So this is more elastic, yang bahagian luar. So sebab tu dia akan, bila dia kembung, dia akan bengkok keluar. So bila dia bengkok keluar macam tu, so dia akan create the opening on the inside. Okay, so the pore will opens. Okay, so when the gut cells turgid, okay, turgid dia masuk, air masuk, dia segar, and dia curve outwards, it cause the stoma to open. Alright, so when it is flaccid, iaitu dalam keadaan dia kecut, stoma will closed. So this is another diagram showing opening and closing of the stomata. Okay, so another name of the cell next to the guard cells are subsidiary cells. So you can use the term, actually I prefer the term subsidiary cells. Okay, um, also you may call it, in general, all of them are epidermal cell. So specifically the one next to the guard cells subsidiary cells, ataupun ada juga term nama lain dia adjacent cell, but I prefer to use the term subsidiary cells. Okay, so some monocotyledon guard cells are narrow in the center and thicker at each, and ini they just describe lah some structure of the subsidiary cells ni, shape dia macam ni. Alright. However, the guard cell still is the one that in the middle, yang ni. Okay, so now we're going to discuss about the role of potassium ions in mechanism of stomatal opening and closing. Okay, so for our syllabus, we're going to discuss about it is actually in fact potassium ion ni lah yang memainkan peranan yang penting untuk menyebabkan stomata itu terbuka ataupun tertutup. So here it says the changes in turgor pressure in gut cells result primarily from absorption and loss of potassium ion. Maksudnya perubahan turgor pressure tu iaitu tekanan lah dekat dalam gut cells tu, maknanya sama ada semakin flaccid ataupun turgid itu tadi, itu flaccid dalam keadaan dia kempis, turgid tu dalam keadaan yang dia expand macam tu, adalah disebabkan absorption, maknanya pengambilan ataupun loss of potassium ion. Stomata open when gut cells actively accumulate, maknanya ambil lah ataupun membawa masuk potassium ion from neighboring epidermal cells, whereas stomatal will close results from loss of potassium ion from gut cells to the neighboring cells. So basically, to put things into to simple fundamental concept is that it's very easy. When you have the when you have the potassium ion move into the gut cell, you have the stomata to be open. Maksudnya bila potassium masuk ke dalam gut cell, stomata akan open. Kenapa kejap lagi kita akan tengok. So tapi basically konsep dia adalah potassium masuk, open, potassium keluar, okay, closing result, loss of potassium, stomata akan tutup. Okay, so you can see here stomata. The stomata is open, alright, because potassium ion dia akan masuk ke dalam. Nampak there are more red dots inside of the gut cell compared to the subsidiary cells, and on this case here there are more red dots which are the potassium ions on the outside compared to its inside. So and then you need to look over here is that you see where does the potassium ions accumulates, there is where the water will go. Maksudnya ke mana potassium ion tu berkumpul, air akan pergi ke situ juga. Sebab konsep dia, bila potassium ion ni datang ke satu tempat, dia akan menyebabkan tempat tu menjadi sel tu menjadi semakin lebih pekat. Okay, pekat tu kita cerita pasal hypotonic, isotonic tu lah. Okay, so but we're going to use a different term. Soon I can introduce the term. So basically, when the potassium ion enters, H2O, water also will enter, and it will cause the gut cell to expand. Maknanya gut cell tu akan jadi semakin kembang lah, sebab air keep on masuk. Dia akan curve outward, dia akan membengkok ke luar, because the bahagian dalam ni, dia punya inner wall is thicker compared to the outer wall. So the term that saya keep on ulang banyak kali adalah perbezaan antara ketebalan dinding dalam dengan luar ni. So it is always you need to explain and mention about the inner wall is thicker compared to the outer wall. The inner wall is less elastic compared to the outer wall, which is more elastic. Disebabkan itulah dia akan membengkok, dia akan curve outwards, and stomata will open. Okay, so in this case, when you have the potassium ion move into the subsidiary cell, you also have the water diffuses out by osmosis. Okay, so then you have the gut cells become flaccid, mana dia kempis sahaja. Okay, so let us discuss about the wordings over here. So what we want to discuss over here is about stomata open. So macam mana stomata tu buka? Stomata open when gut cells actively accumulate potassium ion from neighboring epidermal cells. Ini kita dah faham dah tadi. The flow of potassium ion across the plasma membrane of the gut cells is coupled to the generation of a membrane potential by proton pumps. Okey, maksudnya dekat sini potassium ion bila dia masuk, okey, is coupled to the generation of membrane potential by proton pump. Maksudnya, okey, proton pump ni apa dia? Proton pump ni kan kita tahu potassium sodium. Okay, we have sodium potassium pump. We also have proton pumps. Proton pumps ni adalah protein yang terdapat pada plasma membrane itu yang akan actively bawa masuk atau bawa keluar proton. Proton tu apa dia? H+. Alright. So stomatal opening correlates with the active transport of potassium ion out of the gut cells. So maksudnya bila ada potassium ion masuk, somehow proton pump ni akan bawa keluar hydrogen ion ni keluar out of the gut cells. Okay. This will resulting voltage drives the resulting voltage. Okey, maknanya perbezaan voltage ini tadi akan menyebabkan lebih banyak potassium ion masuk ke dalam sel melalui specific membrane channels. Maknanya bila ada perbezaan voltage ini akan menyebabkan lebih banyak potassium yang akan masuk. The absorption of potassium causes the water potential to become negative within the gut cells. Okay, so apa itu water potential? So this is the term yang saya cakap tadi tu. Saya tadi bagi tu saya tak nak guna perkataan the gut cells become more concentrated, less concentrated, hypertonic. No, we don't use that term as for now. We're going to use the term water potential. So what is water potential? Kalau saya permudahkan, water potential ni adalah potensi air. If the number is higher, the more potential the water you have. Okay, so basically ni adalah explanation dalam bahasa kasar lah. So maknanya kalau dia ada water potential tu nilai dia lebih tinggi, bermaksud kita faham dia adalah lebih cair sebab dia lebih mudah untuk bergerak, dia lebih berpotensi untuk bergerak. Berbanding dengan kalau dia pekat, likat, macam malas, lembik, so lower water potential. So here the term ayat dekat sini, bila potassium ion masuk menyebabkan water potential become negative. Become negative ni makin less water potential lah, ataupun having lower water potential lah within the gut cell. Logik lah dia akan menyebabkan gut cell itu dipenuhi dengan lebih banyak potassium ion. Bila lebih banyak potassium ion, dia lebih pekat. Okay, dia lebih pekat. I'm having low water potential. Sebab tu water akan masuk by osmosis. Bila water masuk by osmosis, it makes the gut cells become turgid, iaitu jadi kembang. Okay. So this is another mechanism that will control the stomatal opening. Okay, that what makes the potassium ion in and out just tadi tu. So basically what tells or what makes the potassium ion to enter, it actually also may start with the effects of the sunlight, yang disebabkan oleh sunlight tu tadi. Kita boleh tengok kat sini, blue light will activate proton pumps. Blue light, dan korang kata saya, sir, mana ada blue light, mana kita nampak blue? Tak nampak blue pun. We will see cahaya matahari tu warna oranye merah ke. Don't forget, when we have sunlight, when we have the visible light, we have a large spectrum of the visible light. We have the value from the nanometers with the wavelength of nanometers, since daripada yang berwarna hijau, biru, kuning, merah, semua tu. So there is blue light, okay, in the sun ray, when dalam cahaya matahari tu. So that blue lights will activate the proton pumps. Okay, so blue light will activate proton pumps. Proton pumps move hydrogen ion ataupun the proton, kita panggil proton, out of the gut cell. So maknanya hydrogen ion ataupun proton ni akan keluar daripada gut cell. Okay, next, potassium ion and chloride ion will diffuse into the gut cell. Maksudnya chloride ion pun juga akan masuk ke dalam gut cells through voltage activated ion channels. Maksudnya voltage activated ion channels ni, what is this voltage activated ion channel? Dia adalah protein. Okey, dia adalah protein yang terdapat pada plasma membrane of the gut cell juga. Tapi protein ni kerjanya dia akan membawa masuk potassium ion dan chloride ion. Tapi bila dia akan mula buat kerja? Jika ada perbezaan voltage yang tertentu itu tadi. Sebab tu namanya voltage activated. So when there is a difference in the voltage at certain value, at certain amount, baru dia akan mula buat kerja. Dia akan bawa masuk potassium dan juga chloride ion. Okay, so then when you have the potassium ion and chloride ion, dah ada potassium kat dalam tu, masuk lagi juga chloride ion dekat dalam tu. So water will diffuse by osmosis into the gut cells. Okay, the gut cells change shape and stomata will opens. Kenapa water akan masuk pula? Sebab dah dekat dalam tu jadi makin pekat. So having lower water potential, so water akan diffuse into the stoma, into the gut cells. Okey. So kita kena faham konsep ni. Air ni dia akan bergerak daripada tempat yang cair pergi ke tempat yang pekat. Macam tu. Sebab dia nak cuba balancekan nak balancekan concentration tu tadi. Itu memang dah perangai air macam tu. Okay, stomata closing is basically the reverse of what we have discussed earlier. Okay, stomata close results from loss of potassium ions from gut cells to the neighboring cells, i.e. The adjacent cell, ataupun kita panggil tadi tu subsidiary cell. Terlupa sekejap. Okay, leads to the decrease of osmotic pressure in gut cells. Okay, so maknanya okay, sekarang kita cakap pasal osmotic pressure juga. But if you choose to use the term water pressure pun boleh juga. Maknanya kita cakap increase the water pressure. Alright, in the gut cells. Water will diffuse out from the gut cells, and the gut cells will lose their turgidity, so they become flaccid, and stomata will close, pendekkan kempis. So as simple as that. Settle. So if you're wondering what is osmotic pressure, okay, so osmotic pressure ni dia adalah tekanan cecair dekat dalam tu lah. So maksudnya tekanan cecair dekat dalam tu adalah rendah. So again, if you confused, you can choose to use the word water potential tu tadi. So water potential dia increase dekat dalam ni berbanding dengan luar. Okay. So on the next following slides, we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 more coming slides after this. Okay, remember this is about regulation of stomatal opening, but this is additional information. Please take note over here. Okay, so we have starch sugar hypothesis. Hypothesis ni maksudnya is also possible cause or reason that makes the stomata to open. But the more important, the more significant process or explanation that causes stomata open and close is due to the potassium movement just now. So ini adalah extra information sahaja, okay, which is starch sugar hypothesis, yang juga boleh explain penyebab kepada stomata tu buka ataupun tutup. Okay, so during the day, photosynthesis occur in gut cell. So low CO2, sebab CO2 nya digunakan oleh photosynthesis. So low bicarbonate ions, carbonic acid, and low proton ion. So maknanya pH in the gut cells become increased sebab low hydrogen ion, low proton tu tadi. So the enzyme phosphorylase akan catalyze conversion of starch kepada glucose. So starch ditukar kepada glucose, and glucose accumulates in the gut cell. So you boleh bayangkanlah, bila ada glucose dekat dalam gut cell, glucose ni adalah soluble in water, so dia akan decrease water potential. Nampak? Kita gunakan lagi term decrease water potential kat sini, maknanya kita nak cakap dia makin pekat in the gut cell. Logik lah. Dah starch tukar kepada glucose, glucose larut dalam air, apa jadi pada cecair tu? Jadi makin pekat lah. So water will diffuse from the subsidiary cells into the gut cell by osmosis. The gut cells become turgid and the stomata will open. So macam ni lah gambar dia. Okay, so konsep asas dia sama saja. So bila air masuk, dia akan kembang, dia akan curve ataupun bend outwards, and it will cause the stomata to open. Okay, so when during the night there is no photosynthesis, okay, so concentration of carbon dioxide increase inside the cell. So water plus CO2, it will become carbonic acid, and also it will dissociate into hydrogen ion and bicarbonate ions. So increase in H plus ini, okay, will lower the pH sebab lagi banyak proton, lebih banyaklah hydrogen, lebih banyak hydrogen ion, lebih acidic lah solution tersebut. So pH in gut cell will drop. So phosphorylase will catalyze conversion, pula terbalik ni, glucose kembali kepada starch. Maksudnya glucose yang ada tu tukar kepada starch. So bila glucose okey dah tukar kepada starch, okey, starch is insoluble, maknanya dia tidak larut dalam air. So dia akan tidak mempengaruhi kepekatan air. So this will back increase the water potential of gut cell. Maknanya gut cell tu akan menjadi makin cair semula. So water potential dia makin tinggi. Water from gut cells will diffuse into subsidiary cell, maknanya dia keluar daripada gut cell tu. Also by osmosis, the gut cells become flaccid and the stomata will close. So stomata akan tutup. So ini adalah starch sugar hypothesis. This is additional information. Basically, if the question does not ask you about starch sugar hypothesis, you just need to focus about the about the potassium ion just now. Okay, so that is pretty much for this subchapter, and actually this is also the end of chapter 7. So again, please do subscribe, like, and share this video. Okay, may this video finds you beneficial, and see you again in next session. Alright, thank you.